this, Marty, for you doing this?
And good evening and welcome to City Focus. I'm Marty Olsen, your host. And tonight I'd like to welcome back my friend and yours, retired head baseball coach, athletic director, Hall of Famer.
Thank you.
Almost a scratch golfer.
Well, if you take it for 9 holes, I am a scratch golfer. Because I can shoot a 71 for 9 holes.
Roger Bidwell. So
thank you, Marty.
Roger, thank you for coming in.
I encourage anybody to call in. Okay, please call in tonight. We got a lot to talk about.
And Roger's a favorite guest of mine. I could have him on every week, but he's got a much more busy life than to come up here all the time. Comes up frequently, and I appreciate it. So thank you.
I enjoy it, and it's always good to, Marty, to catch up with you and to speak about anything. We don't have to just speak about sports, but it is March Madness, one of our favorite times of year, correct?
It sure is.
It is opening day. I think tonight the Yankees play the Giants out in San Francisco. We are going towards the end of the NBA season. There's a lot going on now. February is kind of slow, but March we're picking up. A lot of things going on now. And of course, we got all the golf going on in Florida, which I like to watch the golf. We got the Masters coming up.
Yep, and second weekend in April.
Yeah, and maybe Tiger will play in that.
I was just going to ask, you think he's going to play?
No.
He's talking about it.
I think his days look like they're over, but we'd love to see him one more time, right? So there's a lot going on out there for you sports fans.
Well, you bring up golf, and I enjoy watching the golf on television as well. I also enjoy going up to Cromwell and watching the pros when they're in Connecticut. Yeah. These guys, as they say, these guys are good.
They're good, and I get up there myself. But I must admit that I enjoy pro golf watching it on TV because fighting the crowds versus TV doesn't compare to me, even though it's always nice to be there. But you get great views, replays, you're seeing everybody on the course play. You know, when you're there, you're kind of...
Oh, you're stuck.
You're stuck. So I do enjoy golf on TV, I think, for that reason.
Well, and I agree with you, but I go up there because it's the only opportunity to watch these guys up close and personal. And for a weekend or a day of the weekend, it's fun. I'm always amazed at how well they get out of trouble. I mean, with the weekend warriors, if you have a bad drive, it's almost guaranteed your best you're going to get is a bogey, or if you blow a shot. These guys, they save pars and occasionally catch birdies with their bad shots.
Well, if they can't do that, Marty, you don't see them on TV for long.
Well, the only ones on TV are the guys at the top of the leaderboard, not at the back of the leaderboard.
Oh, who's playing well that week? Exactly.
So it's fun. But Scheffler's been struggling. I mean, he hasn't been playing as well as he did last year, where he was always in the top. I wouldn't say 10, top 5, and he was in the money all the time.
If you notice with the golfers, they seem to get hot for 2 or 3 years and do very well, then you don't hear about them for a number of years. Now, there's exceptions to the rule, like when Tiger Woods was playing, he never had any off years. He just was always the guy to beat, and he didn't ever seem to go in any of these slumps.
Or Nicklaus, I mean, and going back a few before that.
That's right, the Lee Trevino, those guys. But nowadays, you have some golfers who are good for a year or two. They get hot, and they're the latest, hottest golfer, Scheffler being that the last 3 years, 4 years. So maybe he's due to still be very good, but maybe not quite dominate like he has in the past.
Well, we'll find out. But in the early going, he's been not been scoring as well as we're accustomed to.
Our expectations are rather high for him.
Yes, they are.
You know what? Expectations are probably the worst thing you can have on you. Like I say, I play golf. Low expectations makes for a happy golfer. As soon as you want higher expectations, you're not happy.
Well,
Keep that in mind.
I ran into that when I was in my 30s, and I started to improve a little bit. And with the improvement came frustration.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you weren't having any fun.
That's right.
Yeah, and then you were spending more time in the bar.
But we do look forward to the Masters, and I would like to just point out, this is in this morning's paper, Mike DeMauro, a young fella who's working at Avery Point. He was hired as the AD, but he's now wearing two hats. Travis Bousselet, who had a terrific coaching run at Mitchell College. And I think Mitchell made a faux pas letting him slip through their fingers. I mean, he was...
Yeah. Well, Mitchell, he did do a great job at Mitchell. And Travis was a former player at Avery Point who was a two-time All-New England player and a All-American player, middle infielder from Plainfield. So he's one of my favorite guys, and I'm so happy he's there because I think the program is run better by somebody who's an alum of the program that knows the program and the alums. So I think he's a great selection as AD and now baseball coach for the first time there. So if he can figure out both those duties and be able to do that, he's going to be very successful.
Well, he certainly has had success coaching.
Yeah.
And
yes.
I think he hasn't been in the AD's position long enough to score it yet, but just based on knowing him and how he functions, I anticipate success.
Yeah, he'll figure it out. You know what I always say, find somebody with some intelligence and they work hard, they'll figure it out. If you find somebody that's not very smart, they don't work hard, then they're not going to figure it out. So I don't care what the resume says as much as if you get the right person, they're going to find a way to do a good job. And Travis is one of those people. But what you said, Mitchell, he did I think it was about 10 years. He did a great job. Great job.
Yeah, I mean, he basically started with nothing. I mean, he came in late, and he had, he had a couple of bats and balls, and tryouts.
Well, he figured it out, and of course the turf field helped. Okay, when Mitchell got the turf fields over there, which included a soccer field, softball, baseball, really made a big difference.
Well, I think that Travis' success had a lot to do with that happening.
Yes, I think you're right. Without that, maybe it wouldn't have happened.
And also, the president at the time was also supportive and very proactive, and came out of the business world and was, not just in that particular project, but others, a terrific fundraiser for the school and for the projects and the capital improvements. Yep. And you need that. Big time.
So here we are now, and Travis is coaching at Avery Point, and he wishes he had the turf field right now so he could get out and play, because Washington Park isn't quite ready, as most fields aren't unless they're turf. So that's the challenge you have, college baseball in March. It's very difficult.
Do either Mitchell and Coast Guard's got a turf field now too, don't they?
Not for baseball.
That's not a turf field.
No, that is a grass field. They've turfed the football field, as you know, is turfed.
Yep.
And I think they might use the football field for soccer. I'm not sure there, but baseball is still grass.
Yeah, I didn't know whether any of the other schools that would have a turf field would work with Avery Point to in these early season contests if there was not a conflict.
Yeah.
I'm just asking. I don't know.
That would be nice if it works out. Sometimes it's not as easy, A lot of red tape sometimes just to go play a game on another field. And it doesn't always work out the way you'd think it could, which is a frustrating part of it. But if you can get through end of March into April, then you're on your way. But I
enjoy watching the local schools when the weather's a little bit more temperate.
I went up to see UConn Boston College a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
And it was 76 degrees that day. I don't know if you remember that when it warmed up a couple days, right? And they played them on a Tuesday, and the score was 26-19, Boston College. The ball was flying out of there. It was 76 degrees. And I said to my wife when I got home, I said, it was 76 degrees, and it's going to be the best day they get all spring to play. And it probably will be, because that's how it works. You
Now
might get
that score is reminiscent of World Series scores a number of years ago when they started with the aluminum bats. I mean, what do you attribute a score like that to?
The wind was blowing out. It was. But the bat thing you're talking about before they regulated the bats, that was in the late 70s, were very, what we call hot. They were hot. I mean, the ball jumped off the bat and it went further than it should be. The trampoline effect of the ball off the bat, there was too much pop to the bat. So they've regulated that, but the aluminum bat still is an advantage over a wood bat, but they've kind of come back with the technology on the bat. That was the late 70s when that was starting to come into the 80s, when the college game and the scoring got out of hand. But the wind was blowing out, Marty, that day, as far as I could tell. And they were pitching the guys at the end of their rotation because they had to go on a trip the next weekend somewhere, and they were saving their pitchers. That was my observation.
Yeah, I've been up there once. I went up there with a buddy of mine at the end of last season. New Mexico was the conference playoff game.
Yeah.
They were playing Creighton, maybe.
Yeah.
And I had not seen the field, and it was really a nice setup they got there.
Elliott Field. Doug Elliott, former player, named the field. You get the naming rights. It's Elliott Field, and it's very nice. Seats about 1,500 people.
Yeah, UConn's invested quite a bit in their athletic facilities. I mean, they got a new hockey rink, they got the baseball field, and everything seems to be parked down there in that part of the campus.
Right, they have the practice football facility. Okay.
How about that? We got a call? Must be the guest. So let's see what's happening here.
Okay.
Good evening, and you're on the air.
Hi, this is John from Norwich. I believe UConn has opening day tomorrow, baseball, up at Stores. And I know Roger has a vast background about collegiate baseball, going back to his playing days at UConn. A lot of people may not know that. He played varsity there.
Nobody noticed me, John, because I was on the bench. If I got on the field, they might have known me.
Yeah. Well, from what I hear, I know one year you led the team in hitting, so you couldn't have been on the bench too many times. I think you needed a minimum of 10 at-bats.
Well, listen, thank you for bringing that up. And as you know, we didn't play the games back then as they do now, right? We might have played 30 games, 35. Now they play 56, I think.
Well, that's you know what I think a lot of people really don't know about you, the way you know your vast experience at the collegiate level, from not just playing days, but of course they know Avery Point, but the Cape Cod League. How many years were you down there?
Well, you might be right about that. Most people probably know me locally because of Avery Point, or if we go way back when I was at Ledyard High School. But the Cape League was 6 years, 4 as a head coach, 2 as an assistant. One to George Greer was the head coach, who later went on to be the head coach at Davidson and Wake Forest. And then Pete Varney in 1990, I was his assistant, and Pete was the head coach at Brandeis. And then Pete left after 90, and then they named me the head coach the next year, 91. So that was with the Cotuit Kettleers. Marty, you familiar with that Cape League?
Not that particular team, but I'm familiar with the Cape League.
The Cape League, yeah. Okay. Now, John, a lot of people don't know, John played in the Cape League. John, he was a pitcher at Orleans. Was that right, John?
Yeah, a couple of years at Orleans.
Yeah.
I got splinters
Well,
from sitting on the bench, but no, I threw a few ball games, but I think with your experience, though, Raj, all the way like Avery Point and Patuit and the Cape League, and a lot of people don't know how much teaching you did. The baseball clinics up at Dodge Stadium,
yeah.
The clinics down at the sub base, and in the state of the game. How many? That's why when I heard you were going to be on the show, I thought it's important that your perspective from the 1970s, where you were involved with collegiate baseball as a player, to now. I know you know a lot of players in the big leagues, coaching or playing. Right?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's very true. As you know, many players from the Cape League end up in Major League Baseball. The numbers, like 80%, get a chance to play professional baseball out of the Cape League. How many big leaguers there had, I only could guess. It's hundreds have been there. The best in baseball played there. And you know the caliber of that. But you know, the amazing thing, John, when you bring all this up, the first thing that comes to my mind is over those 50 years we're talking, mid-70s when I was at UConn to now, over 50 years, how much collegiate athletics and college baseball has changed in those 50 years. And as you remember, there were no scholarships at UConn except one. We all paid our way, basically. You know, you couldn't have any benefits at all, or they'd put you on probation and you wouldn't be able to play. Compared to what they get today, where they're paying people, they're getting name, image, and likeness money. They're changing schools every year for a better deal. It's almost amazing. If you brought this up to us when we were playing in college, we wouldn't believe it, what's going on today.
Well, there was, I remember in particular, D. Rose said, in the early 70s when we were there, baseball, we had Coach Larry Pansera from Rhode Island, and he lived in Rhode Island, but we had to, in the early 70s, those was the hippie days, we had to have our hair cut, could not touch the ears, and had to be tapered in the back. So he said, D. Rose says, go down to the local barber, who he knew, and get a haircut, and we're not going to charge you. Well, we find out that $5 haircut was against the rules. We could not get that. Or have our laundry done, get our uniforms cleaned after. So a huge change from, that was the early 70s, mid-70s, you know?
Yes.
And to now. And that's what I wanted you to, your perspective on how the game has changed, and you've touched upon that.
Well, I'll say this though, John. It has changed because the rules have changed, and the pendulum has swung to the player's advantage now, not the university. When our day everything was in the favor of the university and the athletic department. Now it's the players, and But I will say this: the college programs now are much better. The players are much more prepared for pro ball now than they were in our day. I believe that thoroughly, and I think the college game is better now. I mean, a lot of these big programs we talk about in college, like Florida and Texas and Oklahoma and all these schools, that Vanderbilt, they're like minor league teams. They're probably playing at a professional level right now, A level, my guess, these top programs. And the players are better off in college instead of low A ball, as far as I'm concerned. Stay in college.
And what happened to that, speaking of A ball or low A ball or that, what happened all of a sudden, was it a few years ago, they just eliminated just like up at Dodge Stadium. They took away A ball, double A ball here and there across the country, like in one swoop.
They did. They cut off 25% of the minor league franchises. So now there's 120. Was 160. So eliminated the New York Penn League, right? New York Penn League was the last team that was in Norwich. Of course, they...
That was A-ball, right?
A-ball.
Short season A-ball.
Short season A, exactly. And so that eliminated that league, and eliminated... and also what they did, John, is in our day there was like 60 rounds in the Major League Draft. Now the draft came in being like in 1967. So there was like 60 rounds. Today they limit the draft to 20 rounds. So they cut back on the teams, and they cut back on the number of players that are going to be drafted. And that's the initiative. That's what's going on with professional baseball now.
Yeah.
So their thought was they wanted to clean up the minor leagues, get the facilities better, the fields better, the instruction better, but have less teams. That was their way. They felt there were too many teams, too many players out there that maybe weren't pro caliber. I don't know. So that's what they're trying to accomplish.
Well, it certainly hurt Norwich.
A lot of years for Rolly Pier.
Well, that's another thing, Rolly Pier. Now, Marty, you're familiar with Rolly
the
Pier, and
Vagabonds.
the Morgan League and the
Yeah.
Norwich City League. And John brings up a good point. Those leagues are no longer here. They were great leagues. I think the Morgan League disbanded in '86, the Norwich City League after that. But they were really competitive, good leagues. And-
Westerly even had a league down there and under the lights. I think they had 3 lights.
Yeah, they had to keep the lights on the cars to light the field up. The Westerly Twilight League, and also in Newport, the Sunset League in Newport, John, which is a very good league. Carty's Field, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
In Newport. That league was also pretty good.
That's a field that when you come right into town?
Yes, yeah, I think it's Carty Field, and that was a good. Rolly played in that league too. There wasn't a league that Rolly didn't play in at one time or another. The Silver City League in Meriden he played in. We played and teams in the Hartford Twilight League. It didn't matter, you know.
Yeah.
John will attest to that. So John, before you hang up, because you're a UConn grad, we're going to ask you, because we're going to be talking some college basketball here the last half hour of the show, your opinion on the UConn women, UConn men. Do you have any thoughts on those two teams? Because you follow it, I know.
Yeah. UConn women, that's easy. They're going to go undefeated this year all the way to the end. They have a great team, great depth. So that's a lock there.
Well, how about the game against Syracuse? It was 65-12 at halftime. What did you think of that?
I will say this, you know, I'm old school player and coach of the high school level only, but I question someone. Hey, you can't question Gino at all. I know, but sometimes I think you gotta. I know it'd be controversial, but lay low a little. I mean, pull back because, you know, call off the dogs here or there. I know that's not a going opinion, but 14 points in the first half, the disparity in the level is too wide. Although they've got a couple of tough games, I think it's UCLA could do something.
Yes.
With that, but that's about it.
How about South Carolina, too? South Carolina looks like they could challenge.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
You know, my opinion, John, Gino's second team could have beaten Syracuse by 20 points.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got like 12 McDonald's All-Americans. Come on. And then...
You know, although I did hear his... he said we should, you know, and I agree with this thought too, that these other teams have got to come up to their level, you know, and it has. versus us going back down. Do you see what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
Yeah, so I agree with that also. It's just tough. Maybe because I only taught at the coach at the high school level, that it was more of a learning experience for this student athletes, you know. But the men's game, the men they seem to grind it out and play a little better than the level of their competition. So that's all we've got to do.
So what's your they're playing Michigan State now. They played Michigan State at preseason at Hartford and beat them. I don't know if you recall or not, but they did. So they have played Michigan State. What's your thoughts on that one?
You know, I'm a UConn fan all the way. I think UConn has got to all 8 players have got to play their top game. There can't be no weak link there. You get into the elite level, and so I'm just saying they all have to play well to win.
Well, they gotta get solo ball out of witness protection, because nobody can find him.
Yeah.
If they can find him, what do you think? Where is he? Nobody can find him.
Well, he certainly has lost his shot.
Yeah, I know it. Geez, he was tremendous. Early season, mid-season. I mean, he was looking to be up a draft.
No, not this year.
Well, he could come on if they all play well. Michigan's got a tough team. Florida, look at what happened to Florida. They got knocked off.
That was a surprise.
A down game, and it's over. The 3-point shot is wins or loses it.
It's a great equalizer, as they say, if you can hit the threes, okay? And these mid-majors that can shoot threes can keep them in a game for a while, but that's the key. And I'll say with UConn, that's my key. If they can find their 3-point shooting, if they can, I think they can be competitive with anybody in the tournament. And I'm going to tell you right here, and remember where you heard this, St. John's has a legitimate shot against Duke, in my opinion, if they can hit some shots, because they're not a great shooting team. But I think Duke is beatable.
St. John's is playing very well.
Yeah.
So
could have another St. John's UConn matchup. That'd be the 4th game this year, so that would be interesting, right?
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
At least for us here in the Northeast.
Yes.
One thing, however we think it's going to go, is not going to go that way. You know, not just us, but so any one of those teams can, the 16 can do it.
Yes, I'm with the 100%. So your selection, UConn women, no-brainer, and UConn men, you think they have a legitimate chance against Michigan State? Flip a coin on that one. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
I think they need 3 or 4 points.
Well, it's still pretty tight. I'd like to get your thoughts on Coach Hurley and times on the way he comports himself on the sideline. Is you find that to be
Hurley?
Hurley, yeah, our coach there.
Yeah. Luckily, he calmed down a little from a year or two ago, but no, I don't like the gyrations. I don't think it's necessary to focus on the referees. The referees are professional. They know what they're doing. They've seen a lot of games. The inside game has changed much, where there's a lot of bumping in that. But I think he should concentrate on his players more than getting the fans riled up and the referees. He should, I don't. You saw what happened to the coach in the last game.
UCLA game. Mick Cronin, the coach from UCLA, you're referring to, right?
Right.
Got teed up. Yeah.
Yeah. The technical foul turned. Well, the game was slipping away at that point anyway. But that was icing on the cake. You can't get yourself into a situation the refs don't need that chirping. They don't want to listen to it. They're going to do their job, and it doesn't help. That's my opinion.
Well, very good.
Thanks, John. You know what? Marty's getting nervous because he thinks you could take his spot.
No, I just want to say hello to Marty there. You're doing a great job, Marty.
Well, thank you much. I appreciate the call, and you know, Roger's a terrific guest, and I love having him on.
Well, the other thing is he won't talk about himself. So I've got to do that for him.
You're my PR guy.
Yeah. Yeah, send the check.
Yeah, listen, just pick up a bar tab now and then. That's all I got to do for John.
That's it. That's it. All right.
Thanks, John.
Thank you much for calling.
Busy here.
All right, thanks.
Have a nice evening.
See you.
Okay.
Yep.
Bye.
Well, that was refreshing.
Yeah, John's good. Yes, he's a sportsman. His father coached in Worcester. Now, John's from Worcester. And his father's a legendary baseball, basketball coach in Worcester.
At what level?
High school.
High school.
High school, yes, high school. Very close with D-Row, who, of course, was a Worcester guy. As you know, D-Row's history going from Worcester Academy to UConn as the head coach. But they were close in high school. He used to coach against D-Row in Worcester when D was coaching there. So he goes back a long ways.
Just a little aside regarding Worcester. Holy Cross finally, with Cousy turning, I think, 95, they've named the court up there after Bob Cousy.
Why did they rush into it?
And he came up from Florida for the prison. Bob Cousy came up.
How's he doing? I haven't seen.
Well, he didn't get up and stand, but I mean he was sitting. But I mean, just the fact he made the trip is, I think, really kind of something special.
It's amazing they would. It took them so long to do it. I mean, what are they waiting for? We're talking Bob Cousy here.
Yeah,
right?
He and Tommy Heinsohn both. Spent time at Holy Cross, and up until very, very recently, you wouldn't know that Cousy had, and I don't see much of a presence of Heinsohn there either. Yeah, and they won a national championship.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I would like people to know that, number one, if I had alumni like that, for sure.
You know, I don't, you know, the indoor facilities, the Hart Center, and apparently whomever Mr. Hart is has contributed mightily to Holy Cross. I don't know who Hart is, but...
somebody that has some money.
I suspect.
Yeah, that's how it works. You know, it's nice when you can name a field on your college to an alum or somebody that played in a program there, but it takes money. See, that's the key. If you have the money, then we'll name the field or the building after you. And it's always nice, that doesn't happen very often, where it's an alum from your program. And that's the case with Elliott Park, UConn's baseball field, Doug Elliott. So he was a good player on in the early 80s at UConn. So he ended up getting the naming rights for the new ballpark, which makes it nice.
That's nice, that's terrific.
The way it should be, but.
Yeah, speaking of going up to see them play, Buddy and I on Sunday are contemplating going up to watch them play if the weather's not too abrasive.
Well, that's I like that. I think it's not going to rain, but you might have to deal with the high 40s, 50. I don't know.
Well, we'll make that decision on game day.
If it's not windy, you're good.
Yeah. It's you know, we got a lot of quality athletics in our immediate region, D3, but you know, even just in Connecticut, I mean, within an hour, I mean, you've got, you know, Yale. You know, Yale won the Ivy League last year. You know, UConn's got a good program. Central's got a nice. These are baseball programs now.
Yes.
You know, Eastern.
Eastern won a national championship a couple of years ago. The coach from Eastern then rolled that over and became the head coach at Yale after he won the national championship at Eastern. So there are good, with all the obstacles you can have with Northern baseball and so forth, there's a lot of good players that come out of Northern schools. And a lot of these players you see there playing down south in these schools are from up north. So it's not like you're not producing good players. They might not all stay here. I don't blame them. They go where it's warm. It's hard to fight that, but there's still a lot of good programs. And talking about good programs that people don't know about in baseball is Northeastern.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Northeastern is whatever they're doing up there. They're very, very competitive. They've really come on. Because right now, I would say
their field's not
UConn
on campus. I mean, you got to take a subway to get to the field.
doing amazingly, and right now, UConn is the top Northeastern baseball program now, but Northeastern's not far behind, and Boston College is competitive. They are, and the ACC.
Now, there's a referee, a basketball ref. Now, wasn't he the head baseball coach at Brown for a period of time?
Yeah, Merrick Jabinski. He's going to. I just saw Merrick. It's funny you bring him up. He's moving down to Conway, South Carolina.
Really?
I don't know if you know what college is in Conway, South Carolina.
Not by...
Coastal Carolina.
Okay.
Not many of your viewers would know this, but that's where he's going. He's going to be the assistant baseball coach down there.
Oh,
he's headed down there this summer. He's going to start in the fall. And now Coastal Carolina, as you know, won a national championship at Omaha a handful of years ago. It came out of nowhere, which doesn't happen. They have a very, very good competitive baseball program. Conway, South Carolina. I don't know if it's a destination area to go to for vacation, but
Well,
it's
it's got to be a little warmer than it is up here, I would
it's
think.
probably near, I don't know if it's near Myrtle Beach. I don't know if it's down close there. Or near
Is he a
Spartanburg.
golfer? There are a lot of golf courses down there.
Yes, there is. No, Merrick isn't. Merrick played at UConn, was an assistant coach at UConn before he became the head coach at Brown for 19 years. And lived in Norwich. His son went to NFA. So I just saw him in Costco, funny, in the
baby.
park.
I mean,
That's how I know what's going on with him.
Well, I see him, refereeing the D3 basketball, and and I read where there's a shortage of referees at almost all levels, so we can't let him go.
No, he's a very good official, and I see him do St. Thomas More games. Talking to him, very often see him up there. So
I've been to one St. Thomas More game in my life, and I saw Andre Drummond.
Oh, well, see, you're missing out because, not that I go to a lot, but I try to get up there a couple times a winter, and it's a treat to go up there.
Well, it was a treat when I did go, and I say to myself, "Why don't I go more often?" But I mean, I go to a lot of sporting events. It's not like I shortchange myself, but you can't go to them all.
And the players, the level of the players, and everything, very, very good. So it's sometimes they're kind of out of sight, out of mind. You know what I'm saying? But the level of play up there is excellent.
Yeah. Well, Tim Reardon was he AD up there? I mean,
I think he was.
I mean, he lives a block away from me on Ocean Avenue.
He's on Ocean Avenue, yeah. One of the all-time greats from New London you don't hear as much about. As you know, his background as a quarterback at Temple, played in USFL, I believe, right?
Philadelphia Stars.
Okay. Now, how many people talk about Tim Reardon?
They don't.
They don't. And how many guys have even played at that level? You don't hear it. You don't hear about Tim Reardon. I never could figure that out.
Well, even just the fact he played at Temple. I mean, Temple plays a good schedule.
Yes. Tim Reardon, if you're listening, Tim, call us in, please. We want to catch up with you.
And he's across the street from Jimmy Lewis. So Jimmy Lewis is in my brother's class at New London. He was a good football player.
Tim Lewis.
Jimmy Lewis. That's Timmy's younger brother.
Timmy's younger brother, Jim. Yeah. Got it. Yep.
You were talking with John about the name, image, and likeness, and something I wanted to ask you in that area is, are the athletes now, are they student athletes or are they professional athletes? Do they have to go to school?
Okay. Well, yes, they do have to go. I think the majority of the college athletes are student athletes. The top tier ones that are going to be pros or playing in the SEC, say, or the Big Ten in football, or a lot of these, the top 1%ers, I question how much, how much they're going to class or how important their degrees, or if they ever get a degree because they leave
That
early.
may have been the same before NIL, too.
And let's just say this, if you go to 4 schools, you're not graduating. Because when you transfer, you lose credits, and you're not graduating. So with these people that are jumping from school to school for a better payday, they're not getting a degree. So that's not everybody, but this name, image, and likeness and transfer portal certainly is not something that encourages academics. It really, I don't see it.
Do you see, I mean, there's certainly been, I think, a seismic shift and change in collegiate athletics in general with the NIL. And I'm not necessarily sure that it's for the good, though. I mean, ironically, I think it may be better for the women because more often than not, there's not professional opportunities, and they may be making more by staying in school.
That's certainly true with the WNBA. Up until the new collective bargaining agreement they're about to sign, which the salaries are going to go way up next year for the WNBA. But this past year, which Paige Beckers was part as a rookie, right? The rookie salary in the WNBA last year was $75,000. Paige Beckers made $75,000 to play for the Dallas team. At UConn, reportedly, she made well over $1 million.
Yeah.
So they go, well, why she stay in college? Well, because it pays a lot better.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they can leave before their senior year, the women. Have you ever heard about that? The men can leave after a year. They got to play 1 year.
I think they can, but again, without the professional opportunities, why?
Why? Because if you're that level player, you're going to get paid. So it's just not going to happen. But I don't know if you're able to leave college like the men can after 1 year, because you just don't see it. It might be a rule with the women that the WNBA won't draft them until they graduate, until they use up their college eligibility. I don't know that answer.
I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of pay that they can. Yeah. Well, we're getting near the end of our time here, and I want to just touch on, since we are opening up baseball season, get your thoughts on the upcoming season, and can the Dodgers do 3 in a row? Or what about the Sox? And,
well, the Dodgers are the prohibitive favorite, right?
You think so?
But they're not going to win every year. I mean, the Yankees did that in the 50s, right? But the Dodgers just keep on reloading, and money doesn't get in the way. And they got the Mets closer now, and they get whoever they want. So the Dodgers, if you're getting the odds from Vegas, they're the team to beat. I don't think it's healthy for the game the way it's going, though, with Major League Baseball, because it's the same teams, every year in, year out. And any time you don't have a competitive balance throughout your league, it's not good for the league. In other words, you're as good as the weakest link in the league. And that's what makes the NFL so strong and so interesting, because every city, every town that has an NFL franchise realistically thinks that they can win a Super Bowl, that they can be at least competitive. But you know what? If you're in the big leagues and you're in Miami with the Marlins, or you're in Kansas City for the Royals, or Oakland Athletics, and I can name a lot of other franchises, going into the season, you're not going to make the playoffs, and you're not have a chance. That's not good for the league. That's not good for the sport. That's not good for Major League Baseball. That, in my opinion, I don't know, they have to address it, but that to me is an issue.
Well, I would agree. I mean, I mean, look how poor the Chicago White Sox have been in recent years. I mean,
Yeah.
what did they lose, 120 games or something? And not last year, I think. The
They
year
did.
before, I think they still lost 100 games last year.
And look at Pittsburgh with Paul Skeens, best pitcher in baseball, arguably. Well, when he gets closer to being a free agent, they're going to trade him because they know they can't sign him as a free agent because they can't afford to give him $400 million, right? Pittsburgh just doesn't have that kind of money. So they're going to trade him for prospects and get some other players in exchange for him, and the Yankees or the Dodgers or maybe even the Red Sox. Only a handful of teams can afford him, and that's where he's going to end up going. Not good for the game, right? Not good.
Yeah.
They draft and they develop this guy, and he's the best pitcher in baseball, and they can't keep him.
Yeah. Well,
That's-
occasionally, I mean, you mentioned Kansas City. I forget. Time flies here. The older I'm
They
getting.
won in
but
2016.
Yeah,
The
so
Royals.
it's 10 years
It can
ago.
happen. It can happen.
But it took, they had a 2 or 3 year run where they had a nice team, and then
Can't keep the players, though. You develop and you can't keep them. Of course, they did keep the shortstop, the Royals. He played in the World Baseball Classic for the United States, their shortstop. I forgot his name here. I'll think of it. But they were able to sign him. But that, to me, that's the weakness of baseball. That's the strength of the NFL.
yeah. Now, you mentioned the World Baseball Classic. Did you pay any attention to that?
I did when they played Dominican in the semis and Venezuela in the finals. And
I mean, a lot of foreign players are. I mean, it almost seems like the growth of baseball at the professional level is coming from international.
well, that Venezuela team, you know all the names, they're all big leaguers. The Dominicans, all stars. It's truly an international game.
Yeah, in Asia, a lot of Asian
Japan.
players.
Japanese are the favorites to win it. So baseball is a truly international game, more than football, obviously, which is really an American game, basically just played in the United States. Basketball is becoming very international, though, isn't it?
Sure is.
I mean, look at all the star players, and all the recent MVPs have been European players. So Jokic being an example of that. What's his name with the Spurs, the big guy?
Yeah.
He is from France. He's another one. Truly, the NBA is becoming international. And someday you're going to see an organization, a team probably in Europe, in the NBA. And I could see an NFL organization going to Europe or having a team in Germany or somewhere for the NFL in the future.
Well, I think it's good for the sport, or sports, I guess you might say. I mean, individual sports such as tennis or golf is certainly international.
Yep.
It's interesting how some areas of the world seem to shine more so than others. Women's golf is certainly dominated by Asian women.
Yes. Yeah, Korean, Chinese, Japanese women. Excellent. Excellent.
Why? I don't know. And you're seeing a few more Asian men on the PGA Tour, but it's not nearly as prominent as it is with the LPGA.
For sure. I don't have the answer for that one, Marty.
I don't either. Just it's an observation more.
Yeah. There's plenty of them. Plenty of very good Asian golfers. In fact, I enjoy watching them because they're as good as the PGA players, except they just don't hit the ball as far. But as far as their skills, their putting, chipping, approach shots, wedge shots, I don't see much difference.
Yeah.
They're excellent.
Yeah, on the Golf Channel, I'll watch the LPGA from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As will I. As will I. Anything else on your list before we have to say goodbye?
Well, we've hit on a bunch of topics. I would like to note that it's not just the UConn men's and women's basketball teams, though, that have achieved success this winter. We've got the UConn men's hockey team has also made it to the final 16, the NCAA tournament, and the women's hockey team also did. Although their women's tournament is now over, but the women's team made that tournament. And,
How far did the women get?
I'm not sure. I mean, the final was a repeat of Ohio State and Wisconsin. So, but the fact that UConn got there, I think, speaks highly.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of like a hidden secret there with the hockey at UConn, and how good they really are. Now, last year UConn got to the final 8, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
So.
And they lost to Penn State in overtime. So, I mean, it's
Yeah, it's to get to the Frozen Four, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Frozen Four. So wouldn't that be something that the hockey team gets to the Final Four, but the basketball team doesn't, the men's team doesn't?
maybe the day paper will pay attention.
That would be interesting. They'd have to if they get there, because there has to be some interest there.
I mean, they've ignored Yale and Quinnipiac, the day paper, when they've had
Yeah.
hockey championships. I mean, they just get a little tiny little piece here. Yale wins. Quinnipiac wins national title.
Yeah.
That's big stuff.
It certainly is. And one thing we didn't touch on, which I thought was terrific, is that the Stonington women basketball won a championship
Yes.
with Coach Solar. She won her 3rd or 4th state championship.
I believe
That's
that squad was the only team in either Eastern or Southeastern Connecticut to make it to the Mohegan Sun.
Yes, yes. And in the previous years, we've had St. Bernard's and New London there. We had Old Lyme play there and win. We've been well represented at Mohegan Sun.
Yes.
But Stonington, I see, and they beat Morgan. I think it was Morgan, a team that they lost to by 20 points in the regular season. They beat by double digits up there. I thought that was a good story.
Terrific story.
Yeah.
We have a couple of minutes to chat about, too. I think a good story is why was St. John's relegated to a fifth seed and UConn a 2 when St. John's beats Connecticut twice and wins the regular season and conference tournament?
Okay. You want me to address that?
I'd like you to, yes.
Okay. Well, it's because they look at the full body of work over the season, not just what happened between UConn and St. John's. Head to head, St. John's has the advantage. But UConn, during the regular season, beat Illinois. They beat Illinois. They beat Kansas. They played Arizona, lost to them by 3. They beat Texas, which is still in the tournament. And I'm missing one other that is a highly ranked team that they beat Florida. They beat Florida. So their whole body of work, because they played and beat these top teams, gave them the advantage over St. John's. That's my take on it, even though St. John's beat them 2 out of 3. I think another question I would ask is, why are they in the same region? Is
Well,
that necessary? Because they've already played 3 times. Okay, do you want them to play a 4th time to get into the Final Four? That's what they're going to have them do, by putting them in the same region. I don't think that was necessary. And there is an argument for St. John's to be seeded better than a 5th seed, because they've won 21 of their last 22 games. So even though they lost 5 games, they won 21. But St. John's did not play a strong out-of-conference schedule like UConn did. And I think that's why they didn't get the juice, because they did not do that. And the Big East was not ranked very high this year. There really was a weaker year for Big East schools. Not that I'm defending the committee here.
I understand. I mean, I'm asking you a question, and
I would have seeded St. John's a little higher than 5th seed, though. That means you're in the top 20 in the country. I thought St. John's is more of a 4th seed or 3rd seed. Would have been my where I would have seeded him. I would have put him in the same region.
Yeah. Well, I mean, UConn's lost to, at the end of was it Georgetown or who the heck they lose to by? It was had 19 losses there down the stretch.
Creighton?
Yes,
The
that was,
Creighton?
yeah.
Yeah, it could have been. Excuse me.
That was a tough loss.
Yes.
Well, it's amazing to me, but we've exhausted our time. It's
Well,
just
went fast.
we get on a roll here and we have fun.
Well, we're gonna have to make it 2 hours.
Well, I'll have to have a talk with Drew here. He's
Yeah,
he's the
no,
main man
he-
here.
We got 2
He
hours.
can shut the lights off on us here.
Well, yeah, I think so. Thank you, Drew. I appreciate it.
But thank you,
for doing-
Coach.
Thank you,
and
Marty. A
I
pleasure.
always love having you on, and
Well, I like being here. There's
And,
always a lot to catch up, and it seems like we get together this time of year every year.
yeah,
It seems to be March Madness.
but it's fun, and I appreciate it. And we'll have you back on, and maybe we'll get a chance to see you out and about.
You will see me. Thank you.
All righty, folks, you've been watching City Focus, and we'll see you again next week. Good night.